Hello and welcome to another episode of Up the CD.
Yay.
So I'm Jimmy. This is Jimmy. And
Hiya.
hiya. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, really good. On the wine.
It seems to be a thing now. I didn't do it the first episode we did, but I thought from now on, why not? Or why not?
I was
Lol.
like,
Got a Portuguese white I got from the local Sainsbury's. Other supermarkets are available. A Porter 6. I like a nice crisp fruity one. So I thought I'd give this one a whirl.
Yeah.
First couple of sips is palatable. We'll see how
Excellent.
we go on.
Yeah.
Probably see how loose it gets me as the podcast goes on, Jay. I might start spouting some crap again.
Like last week.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Loads more factual inaccuracies. But I sound convincing when I say them, so it's all right, innit?
Yeah, definitely. And how was your Palmo last night?
It was nice, mate. Yeah, it was good. Better than the experience you had from them last time.
So you didn't get
I say
someone
good.
like
You know,
I did.
it was high averages, like high bang average. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't good. Oh, I meant that like, but it was like, yeah, sound palatable.
Yeah.
The garlic needs a little bit more work there.
Do you reckon? See that?
Yeah.
See, I thought the garlic from that place was probably the best part of it.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. The parmo was good standard. Chips were sound. Salad was nice. The garlic just didn't give me what I wanted. Like, even though the pizza shop was cack figs, garlic is pretty decent.
Yeah. I feel like to get the perfect takeaway, you've got to sort of like start from one takeaway and then work your way back home, haven't you? So you start there for the Parmo and then go and get your garlic and then hop here.
So I once did this at Teesside Park.
Did you?
Did I tell you about my roundabout dinner?
No.
Right, so drive to Teesside Park, which is an ordeal in itself these days.
Yeah.
So you get the main roundabout, took a left. This is before the rest of the places were built. Went to KFC, 2 pieces of chicken, tub of gravy. Come out of KFC, take another left, go towards Burger King drive-through next to Hollywood Bowl. Go into there, get myself a double whopper with cheese. Come back out. Come back the roundabout again. Go to Mackey's, large fries, vanilla milkshake. Say no more, fam. We are laughing tea cakes and smash scones. A lovely bit of dinner. 2 pieces of chicken, bit of gravy, large Mackey fries, double cheese whopper. Fantastic. Great dinner.
Yeah, that's epic. That like, but how long did it take you to get it all together? And was it still warm?
It was, mate. Yeah, like so. I've done this twice. One time I took my friend's house in Normanby, and by the time we got there, it was sound. And also the setting times and Jimmy Mayboard days were in Boho 5, and it was me, Matthew Sorkel, and Rob Jackson had it. People listen to this podcast do know Matthew Sorkel will be shaking their head in disbelief because he's a skinny vegan now, whereas then he was a full-on carnivore, just didn't eat cheese.
There you go. Excellent.
So that shows how long ago this was. I reckon we're talking here easily back in the 2016, early 2017.
Yeah.
Last time I did it.
Well, we need to do it again, then, I think.
We're probably just doing it with you. Your bloods will go absolutely wild if you
bloods will go wild. My stomach will go wild. I'll probably shit the
car. I'll do it again. I just won't be inviting you. No offense.
Okay, no problem. Well, it's content in it. We look forward to hearing more when we get together on the podcast. Yeah. So, on to the episode then. So, today, I'm interviewing you and you on your own, rather than with
just me on my own,
Yeah.
Voices in my head.
Yeah. I don't actually think we've uploaded our very first episode. So, for those who are new to the podcast, what we're going to do today...
It's on Spotify.
It is on Spotify. The very
first one. Very first one's on Spotify, mate, yeah. So this is officially episode number 4.
Right. I didn't think it was. Okay. Well, there we go. Yeah. Episode number 4. That's exciting.
Yeah.
And what
we're going to do about in your terror and stuff like that?
Yes, it is. I just think it was online. But yeah, okay. I do. No, it's YouTube. It's not on. I remember now.
Not on YouTube, yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, I haven't even had a drink. Yeah.
I have.
So today it's Jimmy's version of episode 1. So I'm going to speak to Jimmy and ask him questions about how we got into CDs, what music was like as it growing up, any history, well, not history, memories, I suppose.
Yeah.
And the CDs. So yeah, why don't you start with that? Tell us your first experience with CDs. When did you first come across them?
So first experience with CDs will be with my mum and dad. My mum and dad really like music. But I'll be honest, I used to hate it when my mum and dad listened to music, right? So what would happen is my mum and dad would have these compilation albums, generally like the best power ballads in the world, volume 8 or whatever it'll be. They didn't have many albums. You used to have loads of old LPs. Like looking back, I used to like the LPs used to play quite often was Christaberg. I used to love a song called "Ship to Shore" and "Don't Pay the Ferryman." And then they had Fleetwood Mac Tango in the Night,
Yeah.
which is one of my all-time favorite albums. Like unbelievable. But at the
Didn't you
time,
have
I
that
used
on
to,
the other night? Were you spinning that?
no, I wasn't. No, I bought a Tusk the other day.
Gosh.
Well, I wasn't spinning. No, what was that? I'd spinning recently. I had Blur Leisure yesterday, and
Yeah.
I've had Paul Simon Graceland today.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Honestly,
Yeah,
where's my head
yeah.
at today? But yeah,
Days,
carry
everything's a
on.
blur, Jamie.
It is,
But yeah,
mate.
so like I remember like Tango like that was a great LP. But my mum and dad then like what happened is they got a new hi-fi and it didn't have a record player because if for people listening like know how massive the vinyl revival's been, records are completely like no one listened to them, it was gone. So my mum and dad used to have all like, these compilation albums really. And what would happen is they'd have like the sofa would be next to the hi-fi. My mum or dad would be sat on the floor next to them. They'll be getting smashed, drinking boxes of wine, so wine boxes, or like a few. My dad used to like these 2 bottles of dry cider from Asda and stuff like, or Old English or whatever. They just get smashed, and my dad would tilt his head, smash, sing the song along to it, and like that, yeah. And I dare say that ended in a bit of nookie for them too that night. But yeah, so that's my early memories of CDs. And then for me, like getting into CDs, my first ever CD I bought was mentioned on the pod where the first Oasis one was Two Unlimited, No Limit.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got that from a tabletop sale at Wilton Primary School in Lazenby for 99 pence, mate. Yeah. So I had like a tape player upstairs in the house. So I had a few tapes, a few cassettes. My uncle Kevin gave me this like tabletop cassette player, and then I got this Ghetto Blaster style cassette player, which was mint. That's when he started recording off the radio and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And yeah, so few cassettes, and this was my first CD. We didn't have a CD place. Used to happen is you used to have some like just headphones, like just normal, not like the overhead ones like this, but just like normal little ones. Plug them in, and I just listen to that CD. Like
Yeah.
no, 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 no. Like, and what? Let's be honest, right? It was a fucking banger. Like 1992, I think that song was.
Yeah.
Absolute great track, and obviously had like the remixes in it. I tell you what, I think I've still got it. 2 seconds.
Go on.
I've got me singles here. Got some shite here as well.
Bring some of the shite over.
Remember that? Everclear, wonderful.
Yep, I do.
Everything is what. Yeah, it was awful. That. Some would say it was shite, but I quite liked him. Andreas Johnson.
Never heard of him.
Oh, 2 kind of like indie ballads. Like Glorious was quite a good track.
Was it?
Yeah,
Do you know what? I'm always learning something whenever we do this.
Yeah.
Always learning. You found it yet?
No.
Nah.
Nah.
Cut that out.
There's some good stuff. Yeah, maybe cut it out, but there's some good stuff there as well.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do a singles night one night to go through all the single CDs.
Oh yeah.
What
Definitely.
I need to do, I need to treat my singles with the same respect as my albums, alphabetical, chronological.
Yeah.
The fact that Two Unlimited is not there anymore, I'll be honest, it's probably put a downer on the pod straight away because I'm sick as fuck. But there we go. I will find it.
You will find it.
Mm.
So yeah.
Them early CD memories, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. And when did you? So when did you first get your first CD player? You said
your first CD player, Christmas 1995.
And that was the Ghetto Blaster one.
That was a Ghetto Blaster, Sanyo Ghetto Blaster, yeah. Yeah, and that's playing the first CD in Oasis, What's the Story? The back of Noel's head spinning around.
Yeah.
Turning it up, and like, I dare say I'm not the only person who, like, without looking at the track listing too much, of like putting it on, thinking, oh, Wonderwall sounds a bit quiet here. Put it full whack. I remember seeing the dial, like, it was like, it's over the top. This little black circle thing with a little dot on it there, and I just remember turning up, then going, then it was going, brom, brom, and then that's it. I think the whole of Lazenby would just went wild at that point, like thinking, oh, what's happening in Lee's household there? But yeah, that's when I got me Ghetto Blaster, and I got an eclectic, my few presents that Christmas. So I also got Now 32, I believe it was.
Right.
Definitely one of the Now albums. And Eternal's first album. Do
Oh yeah.
you remember Eternal?
I think so, but that
With
might be a
Louise
bit
Redknapp?
before me. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, so I only knew her as a solo artist.
Oh, no, no. So this was like Louise, what was her name? Nerding or something. But they had this album called Always and Forever. Yeah, I got that as well. Because you know what it's like you go with your parents because like they try to think what you want and stuff. So I saw this band on telly, Eternal. I
Yeah,
was like, quite fancy her, like. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
like a young 10-year-old whippersnapper, thinking you meant. She's all right, isn't she? Next thing, you get the album. Um, I think by the time I got that album, Eternal moved down to a three-piece as well. So
It was
with a
very similar with me. I think I mentioned on the first episode something about Billy Piper went to
yeah, yeah,
them show and
yeah.
then that's it. A single appears.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think I also end up getting bought Eternal's second album, A Power of a Woman.
right. Have you still got
Yeah.
that one?
No, mate, unfortunately not. No. I'll be honest with you, because I fancied them. I had like the pictures on my wall.
Yeah.
Like you rip me off the album, put them on my bedroom walls. Like, oh, some good looking lasses on my wall there. Like, yeah. So that's as far as that went.
Do you have like a on your CD collection that you've got at home now? Do you have like a guilty pleasures selection? Would you say like
I would like. Should probably go for like a categorization of doing stuff like that.
yeah
I think my guilty pleasures. I think to call them guilty would be harsh. Like George Michael would not be someone the class like my normal style of music, but I adore Wham. I think Wham recorded some absolutely beautiful tracks. I think they're fantastic. Wet, wet, wet.
really
Yeah, I really like Wet, Wet,
interesting?
Wet. Yeah. Wishing I Was Lucky, I just think like is an unbelievable pop track. Like
Yeah,
the vocal range that Marty Pello has in that one, like it's when like pop bands were actual bands then as well. Like there's
yeah,
actually
yeah.
some musicalness to it rather than like the manufactured side of it that became in the 90s. So yeah, I really like Wet Wet Wet. I like a lot of the 80s pop bands as well, like Go
Yeah.
West and stuff like that. But if I'm just looking there at like anything really, I'd say guilty. Like, I mean, there's a Backstreet Boys album in there.
I
Good
think
pop
everyone had
band.
that album though.
Yeah, so got it here, Millennium.
And Five.
Yeah, Larger Than Life was a great track.
Yeah,
I Want It That Way. I mean, who hasn't sang I Want It That Way? Smashed.
absolutely.
Um, with Backstreet's backing it on there. No, I don't think Backstreet backs it on there. But again, like, they're a good pop band, aren't they?
I'll tell you what album was mint back then.
Yeah.
Invincible by Five. Do you remember that coming out?
May 5, Everybody Get Up is my go-to karaoke track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I remember like all the lads in primary school getting Invincible.
Yeah.
What a band they
Yeah.
were.
Mate, Slam Dunk the Funk.
Yeah.
Great debut track. Great debut track. Yeah. I've blasted out 5 many a time in a Teesside pub.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I have, mate, yeah.
So, going back to in your days with CDs and when you were younger. So nowadays, if you're like looking for new music, you can just whip your phone out or go onto YouTube or something and search for it. How would you go about like finding new music back then? Did you ever get like smash hits magazines and stuff like that? You know, they used to come with singles and things.
Yeah. It's a multitude of things, really. A lot of it was like when I was older, like your vibe in regards to that album looks interesting. Let's have a read. Yeah, bollocks, I'll give that a whirl. I've made some mistakes on that as well. But a lot of it, like, no, smash hits, Top the Pops magazine. As I got a bit more mature, Kerrang, Melody Maker was a big, I used to love Melody Maker because Melody Maker got me, like, I loved NME, loved Kerrang, but it was very different vibes of the two of them. I thought Melody Maker sat quite nicely in the middle of them, where I got like my metal like inspiration from there, and also my indie inspo as well. I guess a lot of it came from that, listening to people. So as I got older, I respect my mum and dad's taste in music a little bit more. So like, my dad got me into bands like The Animals, things like that. And my mum and dad both love Fleetwood Mac. Followed on like from Oasis, loving the Beatles, and my mum loved the Beatles as well, so kind of went into that one. Recommendation from other friends as well, like, but you got to think it's like we were blessed with the likes of having Top the Pops every week.
Of
Where,
course,
and like
yeah,
you
yeah,
didn't have to be a top band to be on Top the Pops. So I watch a classic Top the Pops on a Friday night sometimes on BBC4, and
yeah,
there's some shite on there
yeah, yeah,
which would be nowhere near anyone's thought process. But like that was mint. You had the chart show on a Saturday afternoon, which was just videos.
yeah,
Like, so you'd have that. Then when CD UK came out after SMTV, again, that was massive for it. Much preferred CD UK because the bands were out to play live. So it was a little bit better.
yeah.
But yeah, it was a multitude of things, really. What I thought really helped as well was like, no, buying an Now album. Oh, shit, that sounds good. Let's get the album of that band and listen more to it. Do you know what I mean?
To be
So, yeah,
fair, I found a few from compilations like that. Like,
yeah,
yeah, um, they were good. Them you never see
yeah.
them nowadays, do you? Like,
No, you don't see, no, I don't see them anymore, mate. And then obviously when music channels came into play, it kind of just went wild on that one. She went from having your standard MTV, then no, I used to have MTV2.
yeah,
Q was a great channel as well. So where like my music interest got bigger. So in Lazenby, we weren't able to get Channel 5 because of Enron. So you couldn't get the signal for it on terrestrial TV. So Enron done a lovely thing, giving everyone Lazenby free Sky TV dishes.
all
So you
right,
got the free version of Sky for free in Lazenby.
yeah,
And on the free version of Sky, because you couldn't get Freeview, whatever it was at the time, you got Q. So I used to just watch Q all day. And you get loads of like old music in there. So from
yeah,
Q, I was like, no, I used to like Paul Weller. I like, and because you couldn't Google about Paul Weller then,
mm,
it's like, oh, Paul Weller is in a band called The Jam. Going Underground, that's a great track. You then go and buy Jam albums.
yeah, yeah,
So it's again just takes you on that kind of level. So I'd say music channels were a big part of that, like MTV2, getting to watch that, and some like the bands I found out off the back of that would be class. Like,
mm,
yeah, you see, it's much different then.
yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Going back to like a point you made there, where you said, you sort of looked at a couple of covers and you thought, I'll give that a go. Like that might be all
Yeah.
right. So you just sort of went off like a feeling. Was there ever a CD that you got like that, and you felt surprised by it? Like, it was actually really good.
Oh, when it was like when I was expecting not to be as good.
Yeah. Or you had like,
Yes,
you walk. Yeah.
yes, and it is now my favorite ever album I've ever listened to.
Go on
It's
then.
my favorite album ever. So, I remember getting the Manic Street Preachers.
Yeah.
All right, and they had the album "This Is My Truth Now Tell Me Yours." All right, now I'd
Yeah.
heard like the tracks like "Designed for Life" in Australia and stuff like that, but I didn't know what album it came off. And then "This Is My Truth Tell Me Yours" came out. I bought that. I was like, "That's mint. I'm going to get the other album." All right. Now, then I went to HMV, and then suddenly I find the Manic Street Preachers have all these other albums, and I didn't know which was which. So I thought I'll give this one a go. And I looked at the album. It was this strange kind of looking album. It had the track listing on the front, and it had what can only be described as like this giant kind of person. And it said Manic Street Preachers Holy Bible. I was like, I don't recognize any of these songs on here at all. Not one.
Yeah.
Fuck it, I'll give it a go. And it's the greatest thing I've ever
Yeah.
heard in my life. Musically, it is absolutely unbelievable. In my opinion, it's the greatest album ever recorded. It is banger to banger. It's the Manics at their best. It's just before Richie disappears. Like it's just fucking elite. So yeah, that's the one time like you talk about the surprise of it. Like yeah, that was unbelievable.
And for the younger viewers or listeners, what album was that called again?
The Manic Street Preachers, Holy Bible.
Holy Bible, the Manic Street Preachers.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Do you want me to get the album for you now?
Go on then.
It's actually, you see, there's a picture behind us there. I've got my 4 favourite albums there.
And it's up there in one of them.
Yeah. Where are you? Here you go. There we go.
There it is. The Holy
So I
Bible.
was voted at this point 100 greatest albums ever in 1998 by Q. It was actually released in 1994, and the Manics weren't on my radar in 1994. Track listing on the front, But then, like, yes, and if white America told the truth for one day, his world would fall apart. Unbelievable, great. Like, they have like little like audio samples before, and they just go bang at this raw stuff. And then like they had like a few kind of like similar release after like Mastered Against the Class had done as a single only after, which I've got up there as well. Like, was very holy Bible-esque. It's like the Manics have got this like raw post-punk political sound about them, but a lot of people kind of refer to them as dad rock.
Yeah.
My mate Dog will be listening now. He said this many, many years ago to me, and he denies it, but he did say it was dad rock, and it made me feel terribly old because I love the Manics, I adore the Manics, and this was what elevated them into one of my favorite ever bands.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant.
No, they're a great band.
Yeah.
Did you ever listen like to other formats? I know you mentioned a cassette player, but did you get vinyl?
Yeah.
You did.
No, I didn't ever. I've owned a couple of vinyls in like just like when I was like my dance music phase in particular.
Yeah.
Used to buy vinyl just like in case I went wrong with mates' house and stuff like that, but never really got bang into it. Like there's a couple of like our pals used to go to Sugar Shack with and stuff, like pretty decent DJs. And I couldn't get my head around it. So I had some vinyls on the hope I would one day spin some shit.
Superstar DJ.
Yeah, mate. Like, to be honest, like early 2000s, I was really banging my dance music, and I still listen to a lot of that stuff now. Because it was just mint. It's like, no, like the whole CD thing, what we talk about now, the nostalgia trip it takes you on, like the nights out in Sugar Shack.
Yeah.
Wherever we went, we used to go to Shindig up in Newcastle. Like, it was mint, and them days were class. But yeah, but that's as close I really got to records, mate. And then after that, it came to the Napster generation, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it did. Napster and LimeWire.
Yeah, I never went down LimeWire. I went Napster. When that went, was Kazaa.
Oh,
We had
yeah.
WinMX, or WinMX, whatever it was called, and then went down the torrent days after that, mate. But yeah, Napster was the first one.
Yeah. I remember that, yeah. And then I remember it getting like, it had loads of grief, didn't it? And then they turned it into a paid service. And isn't it mad? Like,
Yeah.
because when it became a paid service, there was just, well, that's when it collapsed, really, wasn't it? Like,
It was, mate. Yeah.
I wouldn't
And
pay
then-
for that. And now look at us.
Yeah, there we are. You happily pay for iTunes and Spotify and what have you, and Apple
Yeah.
Music. Yeah, it was Metallica were the big advocates for things like weren't at the time. Like,
Yeah.
and in a way they were right,
Mm.
but still fucking hated them at the time for it. But then also still bought Saint Anger on the same time. So
Yeah.
hypocrite.
This might kind of go back to the last question when we were talking about the Manics there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Are there any albums or songs that you listen to now, or that you know, if a song comes on, and like, are there any songs there that instantly take you back to like a specific part of your life or a particular memory?
I can tell you now, all right. I could take you through my CD collection, yeah, and I could tell I'm 99% sure every CD that I can tell you where I bought it, and why I bought it, and the memories I have of it. So give me a letter and a number.
Right. Okay. C.
Mm-hmm.
C for Charlie.
Yeah. There's a
6.
number. 6. Right.
What we
Right.
got?
Clap your hands, say yeah. Right.
Right.
Probably 99% of people listening to this will not know who these are.
No, I don't.
These were an indie band of like, I'd say different from the Landfill indie days, mid 2000s. I bought Enemy driving. Well, not driving. I was on the bus on the way to my job. So I used to have to get a bus from Lazenby to Middlesbrough to Wetherby every day. So I was on National Express on the way to Wetherby reading Enemy, and the lead singer of Franz Ferdinand, what was he called? What was his name? I can't remember. He had some kind of cool Hipster name.
Yeah, can't remember what he's called.
He was on it, like they were interviewing him about like the bands coming out and say just been to a gig to see Clap Your Hands, say yeah.
Right.
And said they were really, really cool. And then a few other people in the magazine at the same time were about how good they were. And I had a song here, something about what was it called? Yeah, The Skin of My Yellow Country Teeth. I downloaded that on whatever it was at the time, Kazaa, whatever, like that's mint.
Yeah.
Put it on my MP3 player. Listen to it on the bus and stuff. Thought that's class. Went to HMV the following Saturday. Bought that.
Bought it.
Yeah. So I'll be honest, like it's now I've got it out. I haven't listened to this, I'd say, in nigh on 10 years.
Right.
I will be listening to that
That's
this
going on in the
weekend.
car.
Yeah. They'll spin that in the car or whatever. But yeah, it's just every little plastic case in there has got some form of memory
Yeah,
and things like that. And like sometimes it could be just a certain song takes you back to a memory, like the Verve Urban Hymns. That takes me back to on a bus trip on the way to my first ever holiday abroad, which was a school to France. I had me cassette player, so I'd had the Verve album, put it onto cassette 'cause I didn't have a CD Walkman then, and just listen to that album on loop, on loop, on loop, on loop.
yeah,
And one of the richer kids, he kept playing a Godzilla theme soundtrack. And then all like if I ever listened to Jamiroquai, Deeper Underground, down, 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 down,
yeah, yeah.
down, 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 like great track. That just takes me back to that trip as well. I think that's the beautiful thing about music is like if like because music wasn't as accessible then, like it probably does still have that kind of nostalgia memory trick with people now, but then because there's a moment, there's a song around it, or the song takes you back to that moment. I just fucking love that. But yeah, there's not many CDs you can go through there. I couldn't tell you where it was purchased and why and how and whatever.
That's mint that, and
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like, because I get that about music. Like,
Mm.
there's loads of songs in particular. Maybe not so much albums, but songs. I think, and if I listen to it, I'm like, yeah, I'm like back at that point, and
Yeah.
it all seems to kind of be around the age of 14 to 18. I think that's
Yeah.
kind of where it is for me.
Uh-huh.
And I must admit, I listen to some of the shite on the radio now, and I think,
Mm.
how's anyone get like? I shouldn't say that, but I do sit there and think like, how's anyone going to make a memory out of this? Like, it just has
No.
nothing. There's
That's
not.
it's repetitive drivel, mate. Quite a lot of shite on now, innit?
Yeah, there's just no like. There's no hook, and there's no like.
No.
If I could hear, there's certain bands that like I'll listen to now that I might come across on Spotify or
Mhm.
YouTube or something, and I'll think that's pretty good. That, and then like I'm hooked in, but I don't seem to get
Yeah.
that with like stuff on like the radio nowadays.
Do you know what, mate? I'm going to show you an example of this now, especially with modern indie music, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So, I read about these guys and thought they were decent. Okay. And I thought, yeah, let's give them a whirl. Heard a track, heard one called Cocoon.
yeah.
And I thought it was all right. Catfish and a Bottle Men.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Bit repetitive. But I thought
Mhm.
it's modern, it's indie, it's guitar. All right. Brought a new album out. Didn't listen to anything off it. Thought, yeah, I like the first song. I'll buy this one again. It's literally the same fucking album.
Yeah, yeah. Same
There's
cover.
nothing different, mate. Like they had our eyes out. There's nothing different about it.
No,
And like that's like it's just and how it is now. There's another band felt like they're a little bit better, but Circa Waves. I got their first two albums in there. Like it's just Howie.
yeah,
At least fucking pretend. But yeah, it's like but do you know what? Like my godson, I've mentioned him on the pod before, like
yeah,
he loves Catfish and the Bottom Man. He went to Leeds this year, he was buzzing at the headline. I thought, Ellis, mate, they're fucking rank.
lad I used to work with was really into them. He went to see them
Yeah.
a few times. I mean, I think it's that first album, isn't it? Like you say,
Mm.
there was something a bit different.
Yeah.
Kind of Radio One explosion. We
Yeah.
talked
Yeah.
about this the other week, didn't we?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think
Very
unfortunately,
Radio One friendly. Very Radio One friendly.
yeah,
Whereas I used to like no, you're done about like things that gave me like no things. I didn't mention it earlier. Steve Lamack. I
mm,
listened to Steve Lamack on an evening. That's again he recommended a lot of the bands that I listened to during then as well. Like, but when Radio One are shutting that down your throat, screwed, aren't you? They didn't have
yeah,
a
yeah,
choice in the 90s to play cool music because
oh,
cool music was what's top the charts.
yeah,
But they had a choice then. It was like, Razorlight had a great first album, and suddenly they bring out America song. Boom, you can't move for them on Radio One. It
yeah, yeah,
completely changes its tone. Like, yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Going back to the idea of like physical CDs,
Yeah.
artwork in particular.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite like artwork on an album?
Oh,
I think you asked me this on episode 1, and I said the Damien Rice stuff.
yeah. There's some. I've got some classic album covers in there. I mean, I
Mm.
love the Oasis. What's the story? Is an album cover. I just think like it's poignant. It's cool. The best one I'll probably go with is where are you? The Clash, London Calling.
Yeah, it's such like a powerful photo that in it.
Yeah, it's like it's got like no, it's like the angst element of it, like no, the guitar smashing to the floor. It's
Yeah,
arty. It's got a good color palette to it. It wasn't like on brand with like a Clash logo and stuff like a lot of like bands would have had. I love the back of it, like the track listing and stuff. It's like
yeah,
that's very kind of like budget side of it. It's like the font choice on like London Calling was very kind of punk as well.
yeah, yeah,
Um, as far as like iconic album artworks go, that's it for me. There's some crackers up there. You got the like Nevermind, like what a great album cover.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, there's some crackers. Like I love Maximo Park, Certain Trigger, the way that one looks.
yeah,
To like on a kind of techie perspective, I really like the look of Radiohead OK Computer, and the Benz is a good looking album cover. But yeah, it's I'd say the Clash London Calling. It's an absolute classic in regards to its look and feel.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Some good ones there that you mentioned. I used
Yeah.
to really like the Linkin Park
Mm,
artwork, but then it turns out that I can't remember who it is, but one of the lads in the band actually did the artwork, and then that makes it
yeah.
even cooler, I think.
That is much cooler, by the way. That is
Yeah,
much cooler.
yeah, when
You ever
it's
seen Linkin Park come back?
I
Well,
did,
they're in the
yeah,
middle of a comeback. They've got a female front
yeah,
person,
and
and she
the
sounds mint.
yeah, she does. They did have you seen any of the stream that they put on? Like they did
I,
like a
I've
live
seen
gig.
short clips. I've just seen short clips, mate, and she sounds fucking unreal.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah,
I must admit, I didn't know what to expect at first. I was very
same, mate, same.
went in
Because
with
I
an
was like,
open
how
mind
are you going
though.
to replace him? But
Yeah,
I think the fact they've went left field with it,
yeah,
I think like instead of just trying to replicate him with like a like for like person going this way, I think that's like a don to his memory and what have you. Like we respect you. We're going to give the songs the respect they deserve, but go on something different, mate. So like if you want to hear you, we'll hear you. But here's a different version of it with someone who's going to do it justice. I think she sounds superb.
yeah. No, I agree, and it's a great way of doing it. There's a metal band called Architects that did a very similar thing.
Yeah.
They're kind of like lead guitar player who was quite essential towards the songwriting as well. Like he
Uh-huh.
basically did loads of it, and he died of cancer. And
Right.
they like the band had to like make a transition, so like they sort of
Mhm.
had one more album, and I don't really I don't know whether it was like a send off, but like the
Mhm.
style was very similar. And then yeah, obviously got to a point where they did have to go off on their own way, but they've managed to do it like really
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is no disrespect to the guy that was alive because he was a genius, and
Mhm.
to be honest, I preferred the old style over the new one. But
Mhm.
since transitioning to the newer style, I think they've become more successful. Like they've started getting
Yeah.
like number one albums and stuff, and like in that world, and they've done really, really well. So yeah, excited to see
Class.
what comes in the future of that one.
Absolutely.
If you could bring one aspect of the CD era into today's music world, what would it be?
For me, it's like it's what's missing is the look and feel of an album. So like
Agreed. Yeah,
to listen to an album now, like you can listen to anything like it's easy, don't worry about it, to toddle. But for me, it's that look and feel of an album. So like I'm just trying to think like so they've got the Clash here, London Call, right? So we can see the back of it there, you got the track listing, you've got the album cover. It automatically gives you a sense of feeling to it. And you can open it up the CD, you see the look and feel of the CD. Obviously, it was all based on what the vinyl was back in the day as well. We can open up here, it's got all the lyrics to it. Like it's always nice to read that. This one actually opens up some kind of like poster as well with all the lyrics on. Like it's just mincing. Like even though I could put Spotify on and listen, sit in my chair over there, listen to it, I can't then read. It's like being that emotional connection to it. So for me, it's like it's the feeling and holding it.
I was
It's
just
like,
about to ask as well, and you've answered that question there.
mm,
Did you used to read it whilst listening to it? So like I would, yeah, if I got an
100%,
album,
mate.
put the headphones on, and I'd like go through it while I was listening to it. Yeah,
Yeah,
can't deny
I
that.
always help like listen to it, mate. I always buzz when the lyrics are in there as well, so I can learn the songs. I used to do little rock shows for myself in my bedroom as well, like put my guitar and pretend I could play it and sing along, like blasting out Riverboat song in my bedroom, thinking I'm mint.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's it. It's that feeling of it, like owning it is like that's yours. That it's never not going to be yours. Like you're never ever going to get that with a subscription. So I look at everything, all my CDs there, they're all mine.
Mm.
I've got a memory of buying it. There's an emotional connection to it, and that's you can never, ever, ever, ever get that with streaming. You've got emotional connection to a song, but you haven't got that song. That's not your song. You haven't purchased that song on a certain day. You haven't
Yeah.
gone to your local record store and bought that song. So you can't remember buying it. You can't remember why you bought it. You can remember why you listened to that song, and that song
Yeah.
might, oh, fucking hell, remember that night out, mate? Yeah, it was me, wasn't it? Yeah. Whoop, you fucking do. Like, this is different.
Yeah.
This is different.
You've got a CD player in your car, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I found it. I found
You
the
only
car for
found
2.5
out.
years. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was going to ask was, since finding out or discovering this CD player that's been hiding away,
Yeah.
do you still drive with CarPlay on? Like,
Yeah, sometimes.
you do?
Yeah, mainly for pods. Mainly for pods.
That's fair. Yeah, I was going to say,
I'll listen to Spotify on the way to the gym because I'll just have whatever gym playlist I'm going to have on that day. That's where Spotify's meant. You can create a playlist with consummate ease, class.
Yeah,
music at your fingertips, brilliant. But if I'm just driving normally, I'll have a CD on.
What I really liked about, like, it was a car I had before that was all like a bit older and it had a CD player in it, and the previous owner had actually left a couple of CDs in, but it like CarPlay wouldn't work in it, and I liked the idea of switching off, like having the iPhone in the dash, like it was quite nice. And I think
not connect to anything. You got no notifications coming in.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for me,
quite nice.
Like sticking with this theme of like what's missing today's world from like the CD world, I think it's that. It's like not having that
switch off.
Yeah, because we just need to be online all the time, and now it's appearing on the car dash and just frigging everywhere in it. And
the irony of us saying this on a digital platform, which you may well be listening to us now on Spotify. Yeah. Fucking hypocrite central.
It's not music though, is it? So
all
right,
Spotify's bad, but it shouldn't. You should have there's more to music than that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like, if there's any youngsters listening, just consider getting hold of a CD player and trying it out. Try having 15 minutes listening to some tracks, maybe some of the CDs that like you've mentioned here, Jimmy, and just switching off and looking at the artwork and going through that motion, I think, because it's just better.
It sounds better as well.
Yeah. So we've got time for a couple more. So do you think the music industry has lost something in this transition to digital, or do you think it's evolved?
It's evolved, but
for the
with
better. Evolved for the better. I'd say.
I don't think it's evolved for the better, but I think that's just me being a classic middle-aged man saying that. It's sort of evolved for the better for me because I don't like the music that comes out now, and also I don't know how to find out about the music I want now because usual platforms I used to use, like the Get Me magazine is now gone. I mean, when did I ask to a print magazine? Like, God knows, a long time ago.
Yeah.
And like the CDs are like the ginger step kid of the music shop now. Like, I was in HMV a couple of weeks back buying that Definitely Maybe re-release, but CDs don't take much prevalence in the store now. And well, I mean, even music store HMV is not a music store. It's more of like collectible merch, like for
kind of geek stuff now, in it.
Yeah.
Board games and
and again, HMV's out with Evolve, otherwise it would have popped. I think it did go up and got rebought out and what have you. Like they've had to change because people aren't going to the shop to buy music now. So it's evolved in regards to it had to, so you can get everything at your fingertips. With consumer ease, and I guess it's the piracy games you touched on earlier with Napster and stuff was like it was killing the music industry anyway. So all they've had to do is make sure you can get everything you need at your fingertips, but through a licensed way where the artist can still get paid a bite, not a lot, but they still get some form of payments and they get their music out quickly. So there's pros and cons to it. I still prefer the analog wave, like putting your disc in and having a sing song and having a listen. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's for the better, but there's probably way more pros and cons in how the industry's changed.
I think this is part of the reason why gigs are so expensive now, It's because
Yeah,
the
that's fair.
artists
Yeah.
are finding it harder to make money through music sales now rather than like compared to what they did before. And I think
That's a good shout.
I'm not trying to like regurgitate content, but I think we maybe touched upon that before. But yeah, it's mental. Like we were on about this the other week as well about
Yeah.
Oasis and how much it's costing compared to when I went. You know, it was like 40 quid,
Yeah.
and now it's, you know, put 100 in front of it and you've got a ticket.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's bonkers. Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair. And you see like a lot of bands like the amount of stadium gigs in the UK now every summer
yeah,
is insane. Like Wembley Stadium will probably have a gig on every day, some random band, and they don't even sell out now because there's that much availability. But these people have to tour to
mm.
make the money now because they don't make that money off releasing an album anymore.
It's a point that, you know, like I was just like trying to think when you were saying there, like you just used to be like a chain of academy gigs. Do you know what I mean? Like Newcastle
Yeah.
Police Academy, and I can't think of any bands that I would listen to now that might be playing in anything like that. And even Empire, like Middlesbrough Empire, it wasn't officially an academy like the O2 or the
It was
Carlet,
that kind of venue though, wasn't it?
but
Yeah,
it
that would pick up
started
a
to
few
become
academy
one of those
tours.
venues. Yeah. There was
Yeah,
mint bands that played there.
yeah.
Yeah. Going back to a previous point, and I think you talked about like you know, making compilations and stuff. Did you have to make any to give to your mates?
No, we never really did that, to be honest,
Didn't you?
mate. I think I touched it before, but like when it came to music, my pals I was growing up with weren't as into music as much as I was. So that
Right.
was kind of my little kind of geek niche, to be fair. Like I gave a shit about it.
Yeah.
So I'd make compilations for myself all the time. Like, I don't know, it might be one for another episode, but I've got like a little foldable wallet there. I've got all my Lizzo albums and like, I just like, you know, put like 15, like, I used to do Friday CDs. So when I finished work on a Friday, I'd have like, you know, upbeat indie rock and roll to kind of get us in the mood for the Friday when I'm driving from
Yeah.
work to
Yeah.
Lazenby straight to the Nag's Head. So yeah, it was mainly like if I'd done a compilation, it was mainly for me. Like I used to like doing it. Like I go through like me compilation albums I've got. Oh, there's a nice little hidden gem. Right, I'm gonna go do a covers compilation today. So I get me all my compilation albums out, all the albums, and like let's do my best covers I've got, and then do a little cassette base around them. So
Yeah.
I used to do them mainly for me.
Yeah. Did you ever embrace the mini disc? Remember the mini disc?
My cousin had one, had a mini disc player. I remember listening to Elton John, Rocket
All
Man
right.
on it
Yeah.
on it. But no, I fancied it. I did fancy it, but it died a death quite quickly. I remember it used
It
to be
didn't.
yeah, there was a CD shop I loved in Redcar. When I say a shop, it was a market stall, right? And
Yeah.
he sell mini discs. I think he was still hoping that mini discs were going to kick on. So what used to happen is like I had my paper round, and I used to get paid that on a Sunday. Then it comes to Wednesday, and I go to his stall at Redcar Market, right? So I used to walk up the town centre to get my bus back home from school. I used to buy an album a week off him.
Mm.
Usually some classics. Like I bought like Tupac All Eyes on Me from him for like £6 in HMV. It was like 30 quid at the time. It was like
Yeah.
limited edition, like double disc, etc. Yeah. Yeah, the track was class. But I remember him used to having like, I remember seeing he has his Catadonia International Velvet mini disc there every week. I was
Yeah.
like, you ain't going to sell that, you know. I said, no one's got mini disc at my school. He said, oh, no, you're all into it. I said, mate, I'm telling you, none of us have got mini discs.
I wonder
I'm
why I
still
never
coming and
took
buying
off.
CDs off you.
Like,
I don't know.
but
I guess it doesn't work. Like it was just Sony wasn't at the mini disc. It was a Sony mini disc, wasn't it? Like it wasn't accessible to anything else other than that. And that's
yeah.
probably the reason why, because it probably priced himself out of like, whereas like you could buy a CD player from a tenner to £10,000.
True. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
couldn't do it with a mini disc, and therefore like Sony owned the publishing, I dare say, of like no producing a mini disc. So it was that was it. Like it's kind of screwed. I
Yeah.
remember because Philips had done something similar. Philips had some kind of technology in the 90s as well, where it was like before the DVD, but it was a CD movie. I think it was called a Philips CDR or CDR. I'm going to Google it now, Jay. Philips something. And they had something similar where like CDI. Yeah, Philips CDI. So on the Philips CDI, it had games on there, but you could it was like you could get films on there and like used to listen to CDs and stuff. And that was like that was a big thing at the time. But again, it just didn't take off because Philips owned it.
Yeah.
So you couldn't get a JVC CDI, you couldn't get a Sony CDI. So you probably the same reason.
I've
There's
just
me news. Obviously, no local business owners know what we're talking about.
I've just googled why did the mini disc player fail, and it says the slow uptake of mini disc was attributed to the small number of pre-recorded albums available on mini disc because relatively few record labels embraced the format. The initial high cost of equipment and blank media was also a factor. So yeah, I guess that makes sense then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like if
Well, it does. Yeah. When
can't buy the
yeah,
albums for it.
no, and like it's Sony were a record label as well, so Sony were the only ones who
Yeah,
can like publish it on that. They got kind of double bubble on it. I dare say a lot of record labels like, no, fuck you, we ain't doing that.
yeah. No,
No, I
absolutely.
didn't embrace it, mate. Really, like you said, I remember listening to it once. I thought this sounds kind of nifty, but then you put your CD player on. Well, this ain't any different, just a bit bigger.
Yeah, I just never ended up getting
Yeah,
one. I was quite
yeah,
happy with the Sony Walkman.
yeah.
I've gone through all my questions.
Cool.
Yeah, I've
We
done.
done then? Is that it? We're off.
I think we're done.
Yeah.
Unless you've got any, what's the word I'm looking for?
Any more tidbits?
Yeah, there's a word I'm looking for, like a random fact. You were full of facts the other week.
I was, but they were prompted. There were questions this week, brothers. I jest. I jest. There's not really any tidbits, I guess. Do you want me to give me my top 5 albums of all time or top
Go
4?
on then. Yeah, let's wrap up with
I'll
that
give me
then.
top 4 because I've got them up here. Right, so coming in at number 4 is The Clash by The Clash.
Yeah.
And this is that we mentioned about on the Oasis pod number 1 where about you got all your life to write your first album and you get to write the second. This was their first album. It was immense.
Yeah.
There's a track on there which I think was only released in America called Protex Blue, which was one of my all-time favourite Clash tracks. Unbelievable. And I used to go to my mate's Clash band called The Clashed, and he used to play that song for me and like shout me out every time they did because I just fucking love that track. Coming at number 3 is the Verve Urban Hymns.
Brilliant.
The Verve, yeah, brilliant album, mate. It's like I think a generational album. Like I don't think there's a teenager who grew up in the 90s who didn't adore that album or even have that album.
Yeah.
I remember, right, because I heard like The Drugs Don't Work as a track as well. I remember seeing that album and thinking, Urban Hymns, oh, not one of these Bible God-bothering bands, are there? They've got the word hymns in the album, so I didn't buy it that day. And then I since researched a little bit more, right? But oh no, they're actually quite good. I bought that album and then, oh no, this is unbelievable. And obviously took her on that trip to France I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Then bought the first 2 albums, which again, Storm and Headham and Northern Soul were just ridiculous. Like, and we mentioned about Richard Ashcroft's voice, like majestic, like so good.
What's your favourite song off that album?
It's Bittersweet Symphony. I know it sounds very cliche, but it's my favourite song of all time as well.
Do you know what? I think it's Sonnet for me.
Yeah, Sonnet's a beautiful song, mate.
I love that song. I love the start.
Do you know the interesting fact about Bittersweet Symphony?
No.
So it's by far Richard Ashcroft's most successful song.
Yep.
The Verve's biggest song. They make 0 pennies out of that one whatsoever.
Because of the sample?
Yeah.
Right.
So if the song credits are down to so Mick Jagger and where was the one who took credit for it in Rolling Stones? But anyway, yes, so it was a Rolling Stones track, the intro, and
right,
yes, and they also didn't get permission, and so the Rolling Stones own Bittersweet Symphony.
However, that song will have like just put them on the map anyway.
Oh yeah, I think that was their kind of like bearing in mind this like the Urban Hymns is their 3rd album.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? And not many bands hit that on a 3rd album, and they did. And it probably like more people buy the other 2 albums, and well, obviously that was the end of version 1 because they split up. Yeah. Ashcroft then went and had a very good solo career. They brought a 4th album called Fourth. I'll be honest, it was a bit naff.
Almost as naff as the name.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. I think it felt like when you're listening back, it's a bit of a forced album.
Yeah.
But then Ashcroft went and done some great solo stuff again. But one of, if not the best frontman ever. Like we mentioned his voice, he's fucking beautiful. Number 2 is the Beatles' Revolver. Don't tell Peter Turner, but I think that was the Beatles. Officially, the Rubber Soul slightly touching. That was the Beatles saying, "Right, we're not a pop band anymore.
Yeah.
We're a rock band. We're this kind of band." George started being influenced by the Indian vibe as well, and like I think that's the first Beatles album that's been well thought out to take you on that kind of story.
Yeah.
Where you pull your ring with Taxman to begin with, right? What else you got for me? Right, we're going to go into this. Eleanor Rigby, we're going to go. I'm only sleeping. There's this, there's that. It's like, yeah, like, and that album. No, I don't know about the Red Car Market.
Yeah.
Bought that album from him.
Did you?
Not that one that's in this frame, the one that's up here. Because I re-bought them ones to put in my little frame thing. But yeah, today I bought Revolver from him at Red Car Market. And number one, we touched on it earlier, is Manic Street Preachers, Holy Bible.
Yeah.
The greatest album ever recorded, in my opinion. I don't know a close friend who agrees with me on that one. Like, no people who I grew up with and stuff. But there's a few people who might be listening, like Rob Fletcher and stuff, who's a big fan of the Manics. He's a big fan of that album in particular. Recently celebrated its 30th anniversary, and I'm gutted they're not touring it. Gutted they're not touring a 30th anniversary for that album.
Mm.
But I don't know. I'll be honest. That no, how old the Manics be now? Late 50s. I think knocking out tracks like that might not really fit too well for them.
No,
It's not very on brand.
It does look like they are touring though. Touring with
Touring that album.
Spade. Don't know if it's that album, but they are. Oh, hang on, maybe not. It came up on Google and said there was a tour this year, but Ticketmaster doesn't have any tickets, so unless the gig's been and gone. But yeah, Google seems to think they're doing something.
Yeah, Manic's website say there isn't.
Oh well.
But yeah, that's my top four, mate. If you're going to ask me to put a fifth one in there, it's difficult because I've never really thought of that because I've always had that top four behind me. But there's a few in there. You got Metallica, Lord's a good one. Obviously, Oasis, definitely maybe. Yeah, there's a few. There's Fleetwood Mac, Tango and Night's probably there. Probably a guilty pleasure. We didn't mention earlier, but Simply Red Stars, I think is a beautiful album.
That's a good album. That's I think my mum pretty much educated me on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect pop album. To be honest, I think Mick Hucknall was unbelievable in that one. But yeah, there's a few that could come up there. Libertines up the bracket. Monkey's favorite Worst Nightmare, definitely up there. Yeah, it's different. I think it would be very good to us do an episode on our top tens maybe one day and kind of talk people down from that. But yeah,
I think so. Yeah, and if we can get hold of the actual copies as well, that would be good.
Yeah, well, I mean, I definitely will have them because it's very rare choosing like, oh, that's a great album. Have you got it? No.
Yeah,
I'm trying to force you back in the CD game.
I'll have to go on a mission, and so yeah, a couple of weeks, but we'll do it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Jimmy.
Cheers, man. Enjoyed it.
Zoom has just given us the time limit warning, so it's a good place to wrap up. But yeah,
absolutely.
All good. Thank you.
Thanks. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. Means a fucking lot. We're doing this for a bit of fun. We hope you all have fun as well.
See you next time.
Ta-da.